In 1956, a Dutch immigrant bought a great pole horse off a slaughter truck for $80. He was supposed to be a quiet lesson horse. 2 years later, that horse walked into Madison Square Garden and beat the most expensive horses in America. His name was Snowman. And the reason I love that story is because it proves the thing that the horse market still gets wrong. Price is not the horse. Price is what the market believes about the horse in that moment. So why is one horse worth $50,000, another one $5,000, and another one $500,000? It's not just beauty, it's not just blood, it is probability. But Snowman is the warning label in this entire tier. Sometimes the market misses scope. Sometimes the ceiling is hiding in the cheap horse. That does not mean every cheap horse is a snowman. It means price is a market opinion, not a prophecy. This is exactly the work we do at Bridl. We take the emotion of a horse purchase and run it through proof, record, health, rider fit, timing, market, the reality of the deal. Because a horse can make you dream, but the number still has to make sense. You're never paying for one horse. You're paying for the probability of it becoming a winner. The probability of it staying sound and able to compete at the level you're buying in for long term. You're buying the story, you're buying the potential, you're buying what they pitch you the horse is, what you feel, and essentially the dream. The $5,000 horse is the entry point. It could be an off-the-track thoroughbred, it could be your very first horse, a school horse, a horse that has to be there to just take you from no riding ability up to a basic level, or perhaps it's a project, a horse that has very little ability or is very green that can be aimed to get into something more valuable, more quality. There are stories where you see very incredible horses purchased for very little money, just like that horse that was purchased by the Colombian rider for $20 that ended up competing on the highest stages for dressage. We've seen it also at a higher level, but we've seen it where we sold horses for $50,000 that turned out to be 160 winners. We've experienced it. So sometimes you buy a horse at a lower value that turns out to be an absolute superstar. However, generally, a horse for $5,000 is an entry-level horse. Or it could be a horse that's older and that's stepping down there to maybe teach an easier job, for example, to kids. Or a young horse with no proof. Or a local horse for local shows or for low-level show jumping or low-level dressage. For this value, the questions that we ask is not necessarily based on pedigree or on quality, but much more on, is it safe? Is it suitable for kids? Is it suitable for my riding level? Or can I transform this horse from what it currently is into what I have it becoming as a vision? You could also ask yourself questions like, is it honest? Can I deal with this without too much drama? But generally, it's $5,000 for a reason. But we're always so excited to see horses priced really low that turn out to be superstars, because it's a little bit the example to prove that everyone kind of stigmatized that lower entry in the market, where some super interesting stories can come out of it. We've also seen horses that are thoroughbreds that compete in the Olympics. So what does that tell you about pricing? It tells you that a horse is worth what someone is willing to pay for it. The $50,000 horse is where the market becomes serious. Now you're paying for a job. A horse that knows its work, has enough records to reduce the unknowns, and can make an amateur rider feel like a much better version of themselves. This is the deepest part of the market, because the pool is huge.
Huge, massive.
There are not thousands of people that can ride a 5-star weapon, but there's thousands of people that want to jump 120, 125, 130, 140, and that need a horse that is rideable, easy, fun, competitive, generous, a horse that can really teach you, a schoolmaster type. That's why rideability is not a soft detail. It is an economic multiplier. A horse that can be ridden by more people is worth more in the market. At $500,000, you're no longer buying that cute video. You're buying proof, a strong FEI record, a strong national record. Ideally a record that's free of many retirements and elimination, or at least if there is, you understand what's going on. Consistency at the 145, 150 level, maybe 155 level. A horse that has already walked into serious atmospheres, he has experience indoor, outdoor, on grass, on sand, jumps the open water, is friendly with crowds. Could be anything, but what I mean is a horse with a lot of experience and a lot of quality for big stuff. This is a horse that has answered the questions. This is where the market starts operating like performance finance. A clear round is not just a result, it is evidence. A top 10 is not just statistic, it's part of valuation. This is also where mistakes become expensive. A horse can look like $500,000 on video and become a very different number once you start to look at the results, the record, the rider, the age curve, the vetting, and the actual buyer pool. You'd be surprised to see that a horse jumping 150, jumping 150-55, that is difficult, ridden in a strong bit by a tall, strong man, right? He's jumping higher, will be less valuable than a horse jumping 140 with ease, with the most average, weak, small, petite, tiny female rider on the planet. Why? Because what makes a horse expensive is rideability and the buy pool. We're talking about a horse that can literally take an amateur, go jump 140 plus, and if you're a good amateur, you could go learn how to jump 150-55. Now we talk about the mega 1% of the horse world. The $5 million horse, the trophy, the asset, not just the sports horse. At $5 million, you're not just buying a competitor. You're buying a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Saying that, most 160 horses nowadays are probably worth that, if not more. That horse is a trophy asset. And here is the counterintuitive part. Sometimes it's easier to find a €5 million horse than it is to find a nice 145 horse for 200,000. That's easy to ride. This is the interesting part about that market. At 5 million, the budget ceiling disappears. For these people that can afford those horses, whether it's 5 or 10 million, does it make a very strong difference? Probably not. You're shopping from the very best that exists. The impossible side of that is finding the bargain before everyone sees it. We've done it. We've sold a horse that was incredibly well priced who ended up jumping 160. And who they probably refused a few big offers for. And the point is, you gotta have a vision. It's what I was talking about earlier for the cheaper horse. Sometimes there's horses out there that are completely devalued that could be worth the 5 million. And that's where equine arbitrage is absolutely massive. This is what the big dealers do. They spend a lifetime looking at shows, looking at data, looking at results, hiring scouts, speaking to people, aiming to find that one-in-a-lifetime superstar that they could flip or produce or resell for a lot more money. And that's the most exciting part of our sport. The names prove the ceiling. Palou Bidalong, incredible horse. He was reported to be sold between 11 to 13.5 million. Totilas was reported around 11 million. Chayazant sold for 4 million as a 6-year-old. And in 2025, a very cute, very special foal, Zebra, sold for 402,000 to the United Emirates. That is not normal pricing, let me tell you. That is scarcity, belief, and future value colliding.